Bad clients, how to identify and how to deal with. G'day viewers, it's Jeff from McPhee's Gardening, Melbourne, Australia. A lot of experts will say out there, there's no such thing as bad clients. Sack a bad client and you won't put food on the table. They say, forget about being right, just go along with the customer and you'll make a lot of money, you'll be rich. Well, that was my philosophy when I first started. In this game for over 36 years, in my earlier days, I thought, I've got to satisfy the customer. The customer's always right. That was the big swan song in those days. People said the customer's always right. Whatever they say goes. Bow and scrape to the customer and you'll make a lot of money. Well, I found that was the quickest way to make sure that you're going to exit the business very quickly, because you're going to become dissatisfied, you're going to hate customers, you're going to hate your job, because life was the pits. Because you were trying to satisfy customers, you took everything on, you took all the disrespect, you took all the bad things that they threw at you, but you thought, no, I've got to put food on the table. How wrong was I? So I'm going to talk today about my journey of how I found to identify a bad customer and how to deal with a bad customer. Very simple. A bad customer has to be sacked. A bad customer must be identified before you take them on, so that you don't have to go through that process of sacking them. But if you don't get rid of a bad customer, or if you take on a bad customer, I reckon you're going to go out of business quickly. You're going to be less profitable, you're going to have a lot of time wasted, and it's going to make your life misery. And we didn't go into business to be self-employed as being told by the boss. That's why we got out of it. We went into business because we wanted to be our own boss. We wanted the freedom. The old saying is we wanted to dictate when we want to work, who we want to work with, who we want to work for, and how we're going to work. We dictate that. That's why we go into self-employment. It's a very tough game, but the resilient, the people that are self-mated, will succeed. So how do we define a bad client? Now, I did a video probably 12 months ago, a bit longer, about good customers and bad customers, and we did cover a little bit of that. But today I want to explain, how do we define a bad customer? What signs should we look for? Well, in my case, what I found is the ones that ask for, can you do it quick and cheap? Can you do it quick and simple? That means they've got a limited budget. That means they want it done cheap. And that means you don't want that customer, because they're going to be a pain, because they want it cheap. They won't want the extras. They won't want the full turnkey aspects of gardening that you want to provide. You've got to look at the customer that's going to give you a hard time as far as breaking your quote down. Now, you've quoted me this price, they say. Can you please break it down? I want to see how much you're charging for labour. I want to see how much charging for materials. I want to see how much charging for tip fees. I want it all broken down. I don't do that. I give them a price. I say to them, are you on a budget? So that means we can start looking at reducing it, but you're going to get a reduced service. So be careful of the people that are looking at breaking your quote down. The client that shows disrespect at the start when you meet them is the client that you must walk away from. I found I had a few over the years of disrespect, and they were always going to be a pain in the arse, because what would happen is that they would always cause a problem. They would always slow you up. They are the customers you don't want. The other customers that I found problem with is the customer that wants leverage. In other words, come and do my job, Jeff. It's only a little job, but I promise you I've got a lot of work to do later on. And I've got a lot of family, a big family network. They want all their lawns done. They want all their gardens tended to. So come and do mine and give me a good price, and I'll set you up for lots of others. Well, of course, we know what's going to happen there. They're going to get their cheap price done, and you won't hear from them again. And that's happened to me. I got sucked in my early days. Had a customer, he said to me, Jeff, listen, I've got 5 family members with 5 large properties. They're not happy with their contractors. They're looking for someone new. So if you give me a really good cheap price, I'll put you onto those family members and you'll do really well. Of course, I fell for it. I did his little job. He was happy and never heard from anyone ever since from there on. And I thought, okay, I'll remember that next time. So be careful about the customer, the potential customer that wants to apply the leverage. And the other bad customer is the one that's hard to communicate with. They send you a message that they want to quote. So you send a message back wanting the details, and they're a little bit slow. And therefore you're going to think, okay, what's going on here? So you wait a day and they'll reply. And then there'll be another day or two. They're wasting your time. So if they're bad at communicating at the start, they're going to be bad at communicating when you're actually doing the job. And of course, the favourite one is the one that don't pay, the late payers. They're the customers that we call the bad customers. All those examples that I've just quoted are either at the early stages, you nip it in the bud and don't take the job on, or if you do have them in your stable, get rid of them. Look for the good customer. Trust me, I went through all those customers. I tried it, and it doesn't work. How are we going to deal with these customers? All right, let's go through it. You've got to define your position in the gardening industry. I look after elite lawns. I look after elite gardens. I look after properties that people care about their property. I don't want to look after people that are after a slash and dash, because they're not the customer I'm looking for. If you are, that is fine, but define where you want to be in the industry and make sure you advertise and make sure you'll communicate that's what you're about. It's very important. Define your budget early. Look at the customer and saying, listen, my minimum charge is X amount of dollars. I have a minimum charge, whether it's a 5-minute job or whether it's a 10 or 20-minute job, there is a minimum price. Now that minimum price might seem high, but the time I go to the property, execute the duties and leave, I have to charge a minimum price. And therefore, charging minimum price will get rid of the tyre kickers, the time wasters. They're the worst customers to have. And of course, for large jobs, for big jobs, always provide a quotation, but always ask for a deposit. Asking for a deposit before you proceed is very important. And the other big thing is with customers, to avoid the bad customers, is defined at the very early stage terms of payment. Because if that's broken, they become a bad customers. And what do? We get rid of bad customers. That's my take on bad customers. I think a subscriber that asked me to explain my thoughts on bad customers, and thanks for that. But I really think it's important that you look at having a system in place, defining what a bad customer is, and doing, putting some filters in place so that you can avoid having a bad customer. Thanks everybody for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed before, of course. Just really enjoy these YouTubes. One just quick point I like to make is it amazing, right around the world I get a lot of comments from Ireland, from the UK, from Scotland, from Australia of course, from New Zealand, a little bit from the States, but the amount of people that are providing comments and saying that the information that we're talking about is relevant to us all. You know, we all have different conditions in mowing and different conditions in working, etc. But the philosophy of running the business, I believe, is pretty consistent right around the world. And it's really good to listen to other people's opinions. And I think at the end of the day, a good business can be run on sound principles, whether you're in Ireland or the UK or Australia or New Zealand or America. It doesn't really matter. But if you've got a system in place of running a good business, you'll do well. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching.